Okay, what is table funding? That's the question at hand and exactly what's going to be answered in this video. So the pitfalls, the fallacies, and why our method's better. If you've ever closed on hard money loan and the entity actually funding it had some name you'd never heard of, something generic, something that sounds like it was created last week, you've probably been part of a table funded loan and you almost certainly didn't get to shop that rate against anyone else. Table funding is one of the most common structures in private and hard money lending, and the real problem with it isn't some shady secret. It's much simpler than that. You get assigned to whatever capital provider the table funding relationship routes you to, one lender, one set of terms, no comparison, no negotiation. So today we're breaking down exactly what table funding is, why getting assigned to a single capital source is the real pitfall, and why our approach, shopping your profile across the entire lending marketplace and sequencing the right products in the right order, gets you a fundamentally better outcome. So let's get fair up it. I'm Mick Wadley, founder of gapfunded.com. We help real estate investors and business owners every single day access the capital they need to close deals without equity splits, without draining savings, and without giving up profit, most crucially. Our mission is to give you the access to the entire lending marketplace, not just one lender's predetermined capital relationship, so you can close your next deal on the best possible terms. So when you come to us, you're not walking into a single lender structure where you get assigned to whatever capital provider happens to be behind that door or providing some sort of kickback. We shop your profile across every lender we have access to for every single product and find you the best actual rate and terms available. That's the gap funded difference, and it's what makes our approach fundamentally better than a single assignment table funding structure. With no equity splits, you're keeping 100% of the upside on every deal you close, access the capital you need without giving up ownership or profit, no draining savings, close deals without putting your personal reserves on the line. We help you fund the gap so your savings stay intact. And go and book a free funding review. The link's in the description. It's just a softball, no hard credit check, takes 2 minutes. You find out exactly which tools fit your next deal and what the best terms across the marketplace look like for your profile very quickly. Worst case, you walk away with a game plan for not only getting into your next deal, but scaling faster. So what table funding actually is, I'll put my little icon over here so we can see it. Table funding is when the lender who originates your loan, the one you applied with, doesn't fund it with their own money. A separate third-party capital provider wires the funds directly into escrow at the closing table, and immediately after closing, the loan gets assigned over to that third party. It's called wet funding, wholesale lending, or even white label lending. The lender you applied with is really just the front end. The capital and very often the terms are coming from somebody else. So this is actually a well-defined regulated structure. The Truth in Lending Act specifically names a table funding mortgage broker as a type of creditor. It's not some hidden loophole. It's an established part of how a lot of private lending gets done. So here's the structure. You apply with lender A. Lender A originates the loan. A third-party capital provider wires the funds directly into escrow at closing on your deal. And the loan is immediately assigned to that third party. You'll have them as the marketing front, the sales front, and then the back end is the private money provider. So important for real estate investors to understand. Most fix and flip and rental property hard money loans are business purpose loans, which are completely exempt from the consumer disclosure rules, TILA and RESPA. That govern table funding in the consumer mortgage space. That means the protections and disclosures table funding regulation is built around in a transaction often don't apply at all to the kind of loan most investors are actually getting, hard money, DSCR, etc. Here's the part that actually matters for you as a borrower, and it has nothing to do with secrecy. When you go to a single lender, table funded or not, you're getting whatever that one lender's underwriting box allows at whatever rate in terms that one capital relationship has set on that day for that product. So you didn't shop it, you didn't compare it, you got assigned to it because that's the only lender you walked into. If a different lender or a different capital provider would have given you a better rate, lower points or more flexible terms on that exact same deal, you'll never know because you only checked one door. And this is the single biggest hidden cost in how most real estate investors borrow money. Not fraud, not secrecy, just never finding out what else is actually available. So you got one lender, one capital relationship, one set of terms. And this is, as I said, the biggest cost in getting private money is not actually shopping around and finding the best possible terms for your deal and your profile. So why this gets even more costly when you need multiple products? It gets worse when your situation calls for more than one tool. Say you need a term loan to cover your down payment, a business credit stack to cover the rehab. If you apply for those in the wrong order or with the wrong lenders on your own, you can actually damage your own approval odds. So most people don't know this until after it's already happened. And by then, the damage to that approval cycle is already done. So this is what it looks like. You go and submit to the wrong lender. You got hard inquiries, credit profiles damaged, subsequent declines, later approvals get denied. So when you're stacking multiple products, term loans, credit cards, HELOCs, business lines of credit, the order in which you apply matters enormously. So each application creates an inquiry on your file. Go to the wrong lender first or apply to too many products in the wrong sequence. You can talk yourself out of approvals you would have otherwise gotten on the very next application. Now, the main thing here is each product's looking at different things. So, for example, hard money doesn't care too much about your DTI and this sort of thing because it's underwritten on the deal. DSCR is similar, it's underwritten on the rental returns. And same for these products. So when we go and get rapid gap funding, they care more about DTI than utilization. You can use that gap funding, pay down debts, bring down your utilization to be ready for those 0% credit cards, which care more about utilization as opposed to DTI. And this is why sequence and ordering matters. So how we're actually built different. Here's where the gap funded approach is fundamentally not a single lender, single assignment structure. We have access to the full lending marketplace, not one capital relationship. So when you come to us, we don't assign you to whichever lender happens to be behind our table. We match your specific credit profile, income and goals against every lender we have access to for every product, and find you the best actual rate terms available across that entire marketplace. Not the only option, the best option. So this applies across every tool we use: debt consolidation, rapid gap funding through term loan stacking, 0% credit card stacking, HELOCs and business lines of credit. For each one, we're not handing you off to a single predetermined source. We're shopping your profile to find the strongest possible fit with only a softball. No hammering through hard credit pools to destroy all your approval odds at once. Now, that's basically when, because we understand how different lenders actually underwrite, what they look for, what trips up an approval, what sequence protects your file, we can map out your entire capital stack in the right order. Term loans before credit cards, debt consolidation running in parallel rather than creating a delay. The result is multiple products approved together instead of one declined application ruining your shot at the next three. And that sequencing knowledge is the part most people and most single lenders simply don't have, because a single lender only needs to understand their own underwriting box and their own product. We need to understand all of them and how they interact with each other, which is exactly what makes a stacking work instead of backfire. So here's the bottom line. Table funding itself isn't really the problem. Getting assigned to one lender's terms with no comparison and no say, that's the actual cost. And it's the same cost whether your loan is technically table funded or not. Our 5 tools work the opposite way. Debt consolidation, rapid gap funding, 0% credit card stacking, HELOCs and business lines of credits are all sourced by matching your profile against the entire lending marketplace, thousands of lenders, not assigning you to a single predetermined capital provider. Now, the gap funded approach on the opposite end of the spectrum is a full marketplace access, profile matched across every lender and product, best actual rate and terms found, correct sequencing across full capital stack, and multiple products approved together. Now, because we know how to sequence multiple products correctly, you get approved across the full stack instead of risking it all on the wrong order. If you want to know exactly which of these 5 tools fits your next deal on top of hard money and DCR, and what the best terms across the marketplace actually look like for your profile, your location, and your current banking relationships, Book a free funding review using the link in the description. Soft pull, no hard credit check. Takes a couple of minutes to get real outcomes. I'm Mick Wadley. Let's go close something.